Hello, everyone. So we're going to discuss a quick and dirty history and explanation around Martin Luther's 95 Theses. So Martin Luther had a lot of quarrels with the Catholic Church at the time. But much of what he was talking about was more academic debate among colleagues. He had issues here and there, and a bunch of other priests and monks had issues as well, but they were kind of debated internally. Where we often kind of think of the 95 Theses as being this kind of extravagant event where Martin Luther finally sticks it to the man, that's not really the case. These 95 Theses were actually just another one of these internal debates. Him pounding it on the door was actually a common practice at the time. Any grievances or announcements or anything would go on the door of this specific building that they would post on. So it's not like what he did was that revolutionary. But what was revolutionary is when he put those 95 Theses into a book and then published it to the public. This is what became a revolution, where people started to see the problems with the Catholic Church and say, hey, yeah, that doesn't sound right. And then the revolution came. So it wasn't like Martin Luther's initial 95 Theses was this big grand to-do. But it is something that helped pave the way towards a major revolution. If you want to read the 95 Theses and a little explanations from it, this is a good book, A Reformation Reader. It's on page 88 if you wish to follow along. If you want to pause the video, get the book or whatever and come back to it. It's on page 88, and I have the link to this book in the description below. So I just want to read a few of his 95 Theses. We're not going to go and read each and every one. But I have one, there's a few that I do think are important. Here's number 43. Christians are to be taught that he who gives to the poor or lends to the needy does a better deed than he who buys indulgences. So here Martin Luther is trying to show that, trying to buy your way out of hell by giving it to the church isn't necessarily a good way to do this. Maybe give to the poor. And Martin Luther understands what it means to be poor from childhood and through his vows to live in poverty. In 62 and 63 they read, "The true treasure of the church is the most holy gospel of the glory and grace of God." And 63 reads, "But this treasure is naturally most odious, for it makes the first to be last." So 62 reads, "The true treasure of the church is the most holy gospel of the glory and grace of God." That's the true treasure. Not money, not being able to buy your way out of hell or purgatory. The true treasure of the church is God's gospel. Not the money we give or the money we earn. Number 86 reads, "Why does not the Pope, whose wealth is today greater than the wealth of the richest Crassus, build this one basilica of St. Peter with his own money rather than with the money of poor believers?" So here's Martin Luther calling out injustices of his day, of this really powerful ruler, really, the Pope was at the time, who was taking advantage of poor people. Because indulgences at that time were a way to convince people to give to the Catholic Church in order to build up this basilica. So if you have ever been to the Vatican and seen St. Peter's, I have, it's really beautiful and gorgeous. But a lot of the money that they got to build that came from these indulgences, the selling of these indulgences. So Martin Luther was trying to show, and I think in the most humble of ways, he tried it internally first. He really did. He wasn't out to get the church. He loved the church. But he saw an injustice, and he called it out. And he attacked the Pope, which he just did not do at that time. And the Pope and the hierarchy at the top, for some reason, saw it more important to build a giant monument than to give money to the poor and to help lift up those less fortunate. And as we all know, God is a God of the margins. And we're called to do our very best, not to build monuments or temples or idols, but to help lift everyone up, to make sure everyone has what they need, so that the poor don't have to be poor, and that charity no longer is necessary. Have a good day, everyone. God bless.